What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we're going to be doing another mock the mock. This time it's of Sports Illustrated's Senior Bowl special edition mock draft. I saw this, my jaw dropped when I saw the first pick. Then I realized that it was only based off of only the guys at the Senior Bowl. So that would be quite cool to get my thoughts and comments on. But without further ado, let's kick into this. Of course, if you guys like mock drafts, you guys like all this stuff, like, comment, subscribe. We do this almost every single day. Let's get into it. Number one, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars getting the best player from the draft at the Senior Bowl, Jermaine Johnson. And again, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, hell no, because I thought that it was just normal mock draft. So I was like, I was shocked. But yeah, no. So basically, this is only based off of Senior Bowl players. And if that were the entire draft stock, number one, going Jermaine Johnson would not be too shabby of a pick at all. Probably be the place that I would go. Didn't like the offensive line enough to ever draft any of them in this range, especially even if it were compared to all the other prospects. I mean, the offensive line just did not look comparable to the defensive talent that was there, which is pretty indicative of the class. You know, that's pretty representative. You have a couple top offensive linemen, and then the rest have a lot of room to grow versus a lot of day one potential starters in this edge group. But Jacksonville Jaguars getting Jermaine Johnson, I would be 100% supportive of that if, again, this were only the people who are available, the roster that was available for the draft. Detroit Lions getting Malik Willis. Again, honestly, I would probably go this route. Again, assuming that it is only the Senior Bowl roster. You know, I think that Malik Willis offers a shit ton. And I think that the team could certainly use him. I don't think the DBs were that special. The edge talents were good enough, but I think Jermaine Johnson really stood out as the bona fide number one. And it's a good drop off after that. And that's been, again, indicative of the way I scouted him. I had him clearly as my edge 4. So I'm pretty happy about that. Malik Willis, you know, he offers a ton, man. He has so much potential, and this is a team that could sit him. I know that I have a resident Lions fan who says stop wasting picks on QB when you can address the rest of the team. With someone with Malik Willis, who is so potentially talented, that could be a franchise starter and just has a dynamic game to him, I think that it would be worth it at the end of the first in the real draft. I'm not talking about this one, but I think that would be pretty damn awesome. But regardless, you know, Malik Willis, I don't think the Lions would ever draft someone like that. It just doesn't seem to fit with the way Lions usually draft, but I would be a fan of it if it were at the end of the first. The Texans getting Trevor Penning here. You know, again, I don't know why people thought Trevor Penning did a really good job. He had some very horrible plays. Yeah, he has 3 or 4 plays where he throws dudes. One of those was into his quarterback. So again, I love the tenacity, and I would love just to see someone just throw dudes left, right, and center. But to think that Trevor Penning would be the guy who the Texans draft, again, I'd have to see the full roster to be able to select from. I don't think that's a bad pick. I just think that people are overhyping Trevor Penning so much. It's just like, ugh. I'd rather take Abraham Lucas and be able to keep what I already have at left tackle than go after Trevor Penning and pray that he works out at right. That's a hot take, but honestly, based on this, the Houston Texans need instant impacts rather than high potential players who probably will bust out. New York Jets game Mejai. I think that Mejai did a very good job, has a good speed to power ratio, showed some moves. So honestly, he had a pretty damn good week. I'm hoping to see, oh my God, somebody did not watch the Senior Bowl. Bernard Raymond did terribly. He had, I think, 2 good reps all week, like 2 legitimately good reps all week. Yeah, the guy has a lot of work to do. And even if I'm the Giants and I'm sitting there, I mean, I would honestly take Andrew Stuber before I would take Bernard Raymond if I were the New York Giants. You know, you need someone who can actually play. Again, Abraham Lucas had a very good week, in my opinion. You know, just I did not like what I saw from Bernard Raymond. Of course, again, there are some very good edges in this class. Good interior defensive linemen like Perrion Winfrey would be an interesting guy to add into the squad. But honestly, you just do whatever the hell you want. Panthers getting Kenny Pickett. I honestly think Sam Howell did better. You know, Kenny Pickett was okay at best of the Senior Bowl. If you watched him play, he did not look like the best quarterback out there. And I think that a lot of people realize that is when direct comparison to all these other guys, and when he doesn't have Jordan Addison on the field, he's uninspiring. And he's still, I graded him as a first round quarterback. I never graded him any lower than that. But to have people saying he's a solidified QB1, which I'm glad that he's not even the QB1 out of Mobile, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't. If you watch him play, he has a lot of very bad tendencies that he's going to need to fix up, because people say he's very pro ready, including myself. But he has some very bad tendencies that are easy to game plan against, including how he scrambles always to the right, how he drops the ball to his hip when he runs. This guy is just going to be a fumble machine if he doesn't work on that, which I think he will. The Kenny Pickett certainly is worth a pick. Just, I don't think that he was the second best QB in Mobile. Number 7, you got the Giants getting Zion Johnson here. Yeah, I could see it. Again, they're going after 2 offensive linemen here. If you put Zion Johnson up above, he still had some pretty bad reps, but the work ethic, the ability, the willingness to try out being a center and work his ass off at it certainly warranted a pick like that. Falcons getting Sam Howell. Again, I don't understand this. There were really good pass rushers there, so I don't really understand the need for the Falcons to do that. They're also pretty damn good, talented wide receivers that are going on there. So the Falcons going after Sam Howell, I highly doubt that I would probably say it's a 98% chance the Falcons do not go QB. I don't think they do at all in this draft, even with this stripped roster of a draft roster. So that's what he's going to be. Denver Broncos going Carson Strong. I could see it. Especially, again, emphasizing how it's only the Senior Bowl roster. Carson Strong even had some really bad reps in there and had some really bad throws. Although I do think Carson Strong was the best quarterback on the national team, just from snap consistency. Had some weird balls go all over the place, but I think all the quarterbacks did. It's a team that could also use an edge rusher. So I would not be mad if you see someone, even like Perrion Winfrey, try it out there. Number 10, New York Jets going Daniel Faalele out of Minnesota. Honestly, he has a little bit more merit than Bernard Raymond does. So I'd rather take him over Bernard Raymond. But at the same time, again, like the Jets have a lot bigger issues that they can handle, especially like the wide receiver room, tight end room, even the linebacker room. Troy Anderson should be in here. I took a very quick glance at the first pick and I was like, oh shit, here we go. But yeah, Daniel Faalele, I honestly do like him and Mekhi Becton, because you could have someone who's very large training a guy who is also very large to be able to hone in and be able to maximize their potential. Washington football team getting Desmond Ridder. He honestly was arguably the second best quarterback on the national team. He had some very good throws in there, and I'm a big negative on Desmond Ridder. He might be bumping up a little bit, not much at all, but to me, he's probably a 3rd rounder. And again, he's a winner, but when people use that as their one word to describe you, that's not very good. Strong enough arm, good mobility, winning mentality. He's a good leader of the locker room. He's a guy who I'd actually want to have in there, but definitely hyper inaccurate, poor ball placement. Just that's the way it's going to be. Minnesota Vikings going Mario Goodrich. I even think Mario Goodrich played that well. I really don't. I think that Tariq Woolen, which we'll probably see later in this, would be the best corner that I saw. Obviously, you got Jalen Petrie there, who is that safety slot corner hybrid that played extremely well as well. I honestly just didn't see much talent from the cornerback room. It wasn't like last year where you had Keith Taylor. There's a couple other guys in there. The kid out of Cal, who I think is playing right now, etc. They had some good talent there. This year, not so much. I'm not that proud of what they had apart from Tariq Woolen. Just not a big fan of it. Cleveland Browns going Alec Pierce. At least they're getting somebody who is a unique style of wide receiver for the Browns. I just don't think, even with this stripped of a roster, that he'd ever warrant that. I would definitely go after someone like Calvin Austin. And I'm usually someone who says don't go after the speed guys when you have someone like Anthony Schwartz. But Calvin Austin's a little bit different. I think he plays more of a slot role. And they're both gadget weapons, but I think Calvin Austin's more of a 3-down gadget weapon than Anthony Schwartz, who is a very unique speed threat that I absolutely love. I loved Anthony Schwartz. I did my report on him last year for the website I was writing for. So I knew him inside and out. I thought that he was a great pick for the Browns, and so far he actually has been. But I would definitely be targeting someone who's a bit more dominant than Alec Pierce, even though Alec Pierce looked pretty damn good. Ravens getting Alontae Taylor, he looks so slow and he looks so bad. He had like two reps that actually looked good. Just I don't care what this tested speed of zebra technology. You watch how they play. I don't care how fast you can run in a straight line. If you're getting beat by guys and giving up separation, that means you're not playing fast enough. So that was a big knock of mine on Patrick Surtain last year, but that was a micro knock because when he got towards deep, it was by 2 yards, 3 yards. This guy's he's giving up 3, 4, or 5 yards of separation within the first 10 yards of field. So just not a big fan of Alontae Taylor. Eagles game Logan Hall. Logan Hall played very well, but it's extremely disrespectful, in my opinion, to like because Logan Hall's a defensive interior. But you could even put, I think Zachary Carter is a better defensive end than Logan Hall is. I think Logan Hall's built for the interior, and he looked a lot better on the inside. Doesn't have that edge bend. Not a big fan of him out there. I'd rather put Perrion Winfrey out there on the edge. So yeah, again, I think that there's much better solutions for the Philadelphia Eagles. Also going Christian Watson. You're saying Jalen Tolbert didn't do a better job. He couldn't do anything in terms of separation. No disrespect, because he had actually a pretty good week, but he honestly couldn't get the separation needed, dropped some balls that he should have caught. That was probably a common theme of most of these wide receivers as well, though. But yeah, just not as big of a fan of Christian Watson. Khalil Shakir to the Chargers. Honestly, I wouldn't mind it. Obviously later on in the draft. But again, got to reemphasize this is based on the roster from the Senior Bowl only. I would just say that I would much rather go Calvin Austin, but Khalil Shakir had a pretty solid. I think he got overhyped by a lot of people on Twitter saying he was having an amazing day. Like, oh my God, Khalil Shakir. No, he's not that talented. He's still very good, but I think Calvin Austin shined more than he did in the same areas. New Orleans Saints going Brian Asamoah. Guy had a very good week as well. I like Brian Asamoah, but it's one of the few positions I don't think the Saints are really looking to target. Eagles going Darion Kendrick, a guy who also had a really poor week. I don't think that you need to force that. Jalen Petrie, you can actually just use him at safety if you want him to. There's another guy, I'm forgetting his name. He was number 1 on my gainers list for day 3 or for my risers, but he was a really good safety. Did very well in the 7-on-7 drills, as well as I believe in normal coverage. So good for him. Pittsburgh Steelers getting Danny Gray. Guy can't catch for shit. And no disrespect to Danny, because I know he's actually a really good guy, and he's quite a funny dude, but he's very thin, and he had consistent drop issues at SMU, and it got even worse at the Senior Bowl. Troy Anderson, there he is, and also spelled incorrectly. If I'm not mistaken, it's with an O, not an E. But still, Troy Anderson, Montana State, had a baller week. That guy did very well. Vegas Raiders going wide receiver, Velus Jones, another guy who is he was like, I think, a class of 2016, so the guy's old as all get-go. But number 2, he had a lot of drop issues. Good separator, but I don't even know if he gets drafted in this because he's a very good punt returner, but he's also, I think, 24 or 25 years old. Cardinals getting Tariq Woolen. That'd be a damn steal, according to this. Dallas Cowboys, Boye Mafe. Boye Mafe's been a beast, but again, this is a team that could probably target a different position, even with the stripped roster. Bills getting Gregory Jr., a Wichita Baptist. I actually didn't really see enough of this guy, so I can't comment enough on it, but like he never stood out to me. I'll put it that way. I watched every snap. He never stood out to me. So there you go. Titans getting Trey McBride. Honestly, he had some really good hands. He'd be a very good addition to this team. 4.75 40 is not too bueno, but that's probably why he fell to 26, even with the stripped roster. So I don't mind it. Buccaneers getting Darian Kennard here out of Kentucky. He's not an offensive guard if they actually watched, which of course they didn't, because this person's making bullshit up. He had by far his worst reps at guard. So I've been saying he's a right tackle only for a long time, and the Senior Bowl solidified that. Green Bay Packers getting Arnold Ebiketie. Would love it. That I think that he can go here even in the real draft. So a guy who actually had a very, very phenomenal week, just didn't have any marquee moments. He was pretty consistent, but not consistently spectacular like Jermaine Johnson. Dolphins going Dameon Pierce. I think that Dameon Pierce had a very good week as well. Of course, we haven't seen the best players in this entire week. So again, you can tell that this guy didn't watch the Senior Bowl or just watched a little highlight clip of it, because guys like Travis Jones, Perrion Winfrey, as well, of course, is Devontae Wyatt. Those were the real standouts along with Jermaine Johnson. But yeah, Travis Jones, I don't know why they would get a nose tackle for a team that kind of already has that interior more so solidified. But again, this is a team where they could get after someone like Perrion Winfrey if they want to get someone who's on the inside, but not exactly that nose tackle or huge build. But again, I wouldn't be too pissed off at it. Matt, well, let's go to the Bengals. I don't think that they watched again. He was a guy who rose really quickly and then fell very quickly as well. Had some really good reps in there and then had some horrible ones. So it is what it is. And of course, Jalen Petrie, who should have been probably in the top 5 based on how he performed this week, going to the Lions. So bottom line, it was pretty obvious that this person did not watch the Senior Bowl. They saw somebody put up a highlight tape or something. So Zach, I mean, it's just annoying how people like that get to write for sites like Sports Illustrated, but people actually put the time into it. Broshmo, me, probably Marcus Whitman in there as well. I mean, those two guys have a lot bigger bases than this guy, but we're not having those same opportunities. It just shows that there is a little bit of who you know type of privilege in this industry and not how you do it. So, yeah, basically, Zach, you shouldn't be writing if you're not actually knowledgeable on the situation, because it's pretty obvious that you didn't watch this. So let me know what you guys think. I think this was pretty absolutely horrible, even with all the parameters of this being a only Senior Bowl mock draft. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.